Where's your playlist taking you? Down the highway? To the mountains? Or just into daydream mode while you're stuck in traffic? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western is there to help you make the most of your getaway, wherever that is. Because the only thing better than a great playlist is a great trip. Life's the trip. Make the most of it at Best Western. Book direct and save at bestwestern.com.
Are negative Google reviews hurting your business? Don't let unfair feedback cost you customers. At Webamax, we specialize in removing false, misleading, and damaging reviews so your online reputation stays strong. Our expert team works quickly and legally to clean up your digital presence, helping you rebuild trust. Visit us on the web at www.gowebamax.com. That's GOWEBIMAX.com, or text us for a free quote at 856-840-8343. Don't let bad reviews define you. Get immediate help from Webamax.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, Duke fans, episode 695 of the DBR podcast, the Duke Basketball Roundup. Jason Evans here for you. Donald Wine is with me. Look, we're doing this a little different than we usually do. Usually, we take a little time, we digest that box score, we do a deep dive on all the stats, all the analysis, all that other kind of stuff. Schedules just don't allow us to do that tonight, Donald. We are here recording. It is literally 30 minutes after the game ended. We wanted to give you all time to send in a couple headlines. We wanted to take a few notes. But, Donald, we are here to recap the Blue Devils' beatdown of the Virginia Wahoos by a score of 80-62. How you doing, my friend?
That was fun again. We should keep doing fun ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you agree? These things should be fun all the time, because then we get to do stuff like this where we get to talk about it. And I'll tell you, this game, like, there may not be a lot of statistical breakdown analysis. We have some stats and stuff, but this is kind of a vibey portion of the program where I'm just going to say that game was so much fun. We should do that again sometime, like this weekend.
Yeah. Like every weekend.
Every weekend.
How did Duke go on the road? Look, I said in the preview, this UVA team's been playing pretty good lately. They've been scoring over 70 points a lot. Over the past few weeks, they've been playing easily a top 50, maybe a top 40 team in college basketball. I know that their, advanced stats, their record, they were lousy earlier in the year. They've been better lately. How did Duke just dismantle them 80-62? And it wasn't that close. It could have easily been 30 plus points if we'd actually, bothered down the final 7 minutes or so.
It was the largest win for Duke at John Paul Jones Arena. And Jason, before we get to the headlines, we kind of have some general themes. This is a theme that's kind of unrelated to this game, but related to Duke basketball. During the game, before the game, they talked about Auburn, they talked about Duke, and they talked about who, the number one seeds and all that, and basically comparing Duke to Auburn. And one thing I need everybody to start doing again let's put it this way: when they compare Duke to Auburn right now, they talk about both teams like they haven't played each other. And I don't know if you caught this, but I don't know when it was.
I am with you.
Yeah,
This is ridiculous.
I don't know when it was. I forgot who said it. It doesn't matter who said it, but this is what was said. Somebody said, quote, Auburn has 15 quad one wins while Duke only has 5. Duke hasn't played anyone the caliber of Auburn all season. We played Auburn. we beat Auburn. So again, like they talked about this, and again, we're looking at this Virginia team, and when we were looking at the preview and how we've seen them play all year, we're like, yo, this game's not going to be a game that's going to be us not blowing the doors off. Boy, we were wrong, which I'm glad we were wrong in that regard. But we were looking at this team like, this is a tough team, and it's gonna take a little bit of moxie to kind of go into JPJ and walk out with a win. And if we walk out with a 5-point win, I'm cool with that. We kind of talked about how this team has the tendency to go there and grind the game to a halt, and that plays to their advantage because they can keep any game close. Somehow this team has defied even that expectation and come out, and again, it was tough, but this team figures out a way to win and miss me with the whole, Auburn and the SEC are so much better than everybody else because, like I said, we had Auburn in our house, we beat them. I don't feel like if Auburn and Duke played today, that Auburn is light years better than Duke. We are right there with them. We just need to keep playing these games and show everybody how. And if people want to continue to disrespect and continue to give all the love to Florida and Auburn and Tennessee, let them. But I do want them to start talking about these two teams like they played each other.
Thank you very much. You are absolutely correct, sir. I do want to note in terms of general themes, one thing I happen to notice, and I don't know, I just haven't been I've been paying great attention to Ken Palm. I haven't been looking sort of at Duke in Ken Palm that much. Duke is now, we flipped the script. Earlier in the year, we were a dominant defensive team. We're now a dominant offensive team. Duke is now we're the number 2 team in the land on offense and only number 4 on we're only number 4 on defense. Duke, by the way, is the only team in the country that is top 5 on both offense and defense. Hat tip to Florida and Houston. Both those teams are in the top 10 on offense and defense. Neither of them are in the top 5 in both those categories the way that Duke is. Donald, let's get to the game. Let's start with the headlines because even though we didn't warn our listeners that we'd be recording this so soon after the game, and look, I can already tell the DBR podcast at gmail.com inbox is going to fill up all night long. And I'm sorry, folks.
I'll read them. I have a long day at work tomorrow. I have to take a break in the middle to do some stuff. I'll read them. It just won't make the show. So I apologize if you come up with some great thing overnight and you put it in. It's not going to make this show, but I promise you, we will read it.
Yeah. Yo, if you find some really good ones, put them out on our socials. Do that.
Okay. I can do that.
But we do have a few good ones because there are some folks who come at us like immediately as soon as the game ends. I want to begin with Mark Esselstein. Mark gave us who owns the paint, as in HOO, like the Wahoos, the Who's. Who owns the paint? Duke dominates. Duke owned the paint. And Mark is absolutely correct about that.
Yeah, I have Jarrett Strauss who sent in a couple, but my favorite one, Jason, we talked about on the last show whether Duke was going to fly or take the bus up to Charlottesville. Well, Jarrett just silences both. Duke flies to Charlottesville, runs over Virginia like a bus.
Matthew Green sent us a limerick. Look, folks know I'm the guy to send the limericks to.
Yep.
Matthew Green gave us this one. Duke came into the game hearing many a jeer. Despite losing Maliq, we played with no fear. Our defense was great. The passing had me elate. Post Bennett, UVA seems, well, cavalier. Very nicely done, Matthew.
Chris Zimmershine wrote in and gave us one. Evans helps Duke win by more than a slim margin, which I thought was really good.
And my last one is another limerick. Braden Watson. Man, you guys are just bringing it. Thanks, folks. Braden Watson gives us, the Blue Devils shot threes with great flair, while the Who's just stood frozen in despair. With rebounds galore, they opened the score, leaving Virginia gasping for air. Nice job, Braden.
And my final one comes from Ryan Balch, who writes in quite a bit. This is now his, I believe it's his son, Camden, who he says was named as close to Cameron as his wife would allow him to be named.
I
So
like
not
that.
Cameron, but Camden is close. Hey, I'm close to Baltimore, Camden Yards, great ballpark.
I want to point out that when I had a son, I wanted to name him Cameron, and my wife was like, "We're not naming our child after Duke's basketball arena." So I got the dog
You
instead.
got the dog. Yes, that's cool. But Camden Balch wrote, "If you know, you know. Duke puts on a show and delivers the Wahoos a blow."
Very nicely done. Let's get to the game itself, Donald, because there is a lot to talk about. I want to start with this. Maybe it's just me. There is a striking difference that I see when I watch basketball games in the quality of the shots that Duke gets versus what our opponents get. I mean, look, of course, we're scoring super efficiently because we take wide open threes and layups almost exclusively. Like in this game, it was Duke taking wide open threes and layups. There were a couple times, like Coop a couple times, Tyrese, we took a couple mid-range shots, but for the most part,
Slim hit a couple threes in somebody's pie hole. I do remember that.
yes, yes. But I mean, this Duke team just takes shots that you go, every time you go, that's a good shot. That's a good shot. That's a good shot. Meanwhile, the teams we're playing against are taking contested mid-range jumpers as the shot clock's about to expire. It is no surprise. It is no surprise that this Duke team is blowing the doors off of teams merely by watching where shots are taken, whether they are contested, and all that other kind of jazz will tell you that Duke plays way more efficient basketball than our opponents. The passing, the ability to get where we want, sublime. The only word for it is sublime.
So I had a slightly different take on that. I think you're correct. I think for this game, especially in the first, I'd say 8 to 9 minutes of this game, we actually had to work for it. I mean, UVA presented some issues with us getting those open looks because we had to kind of work our way around, and that's what Virginia does, right? You make you kind of just like us, make you work your way down to the late to the shot clock and try and force a bad shot with like 1 second left. We were able to get good shots, but we were working for it really quick. But the one thing that I thought that we did well from the start and that really carried us the whole game was rebounding. In the first half, we out rebounded UVA 24-8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is the number of offensive rebounds that we had as well in the first half. UVA had a total of 8 in the first half and ended up being just a disparity 41-21 where it didn't even feel that close. And I think when we were working hard in the first 8 to 9 minutes and we weren't getting the shots that we necessarily wanted or we were missing them, we were getting the rebound, going up strong, getting the rebound again. We had one where Kon kind of missed a layup, got his own rebound, missed the layup again, and then here comes Maliq Brown with a dunk. Unfortunately, it's only 2 points of the game. But I mean, the way that we attacked the rim was team effort where we all went to the rim, and if we missed, somebody got the rebound and we were able to put it back in. Our second chance points blew the doors off, and that was what gave us again a steady build of a lead that ended up becoming insurmountable.
So you mentioned that first half rebounding advantage where Duke was up 24-8 at the half. I'm not sure if you happen to notice Cooper Flagg all by himself.
A double.
No, right. He had out rebounded Virginia. It was 11-8. Cooper with 11, Virginia with 8. And by the way, Cooper's teammates also had 13. I mean, that's just outrageous. Duke won points in the paint in this contest by 42-18. And I think perhaps the most unbelievable stat was this one. Virginia got 4 offensive rebounds. They missed 32 shots and they got 4 offensive rebounds. That's an 11% offensive rebounding rate. I mean, you don't see numbers like that. It's crazy the degree to which
you do see numbers like that when we play every game. It feels like it's just this year has been, again, we've talked about the minus maybe a week or so over the last 10 days here that they kind of have lapsed a little bit in rebounding, but it feels like we get off the starts, and again, it makes sense, right? We're very efficient. We're not missing a lot of shots. We don't have that opportunity to get rebounds, but we're getting theirs because we're boxing out. We're going the other way. And even in this one, it was very clean. There wasn't a lot of turnovers on either side. So that meant that the way that we were building this lead was through rebounding and through getting the basketball away from them and going the other way.
Yeah, and let's continue to talk about Mr. Cooper Flagg. Finishes with 17 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. He has now become the first player in the ACC since 1997 to amass 500 points, 100 assists, and 30 blocks in a season. By the way, the season isn't done.
Yeah.
Those numbers will continue to grow. I don't know where they will get. Entirely possible that he will get by the time the regular season is done. In fact, almost certainly he will get above 600 points. The assists, the blocks, the steals, everything. We're just seeing unprecedented statistical dominance from him. And I thought it was very interesting in this game. He was being more aggressive about hunting his shot than he usually is. I'm not sure if you noticed this, Donald. He had 0 assists in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would like to see him pass a little bit more. Duke is at its best when they're passing the ball more. Our assist rate in this game was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't up above 60%. It was right around 50% where we...
I'll expand on that, but finish your point because I want to talk about the assist for a second.
Yeah, and what I was going to say about it was, yes, I want Cooper getting those assists, but on the other hand, I don't mind too much if he's being a little more aggressive hunting his shot. I sometimes think he is a little too deferential. He is absolutely capable of dominating games, and I like Cooper when he's got that mindset, and it felt a little bit like he had that mindset at times tonight.
Yeah, he and we've talked about it, right? There's been games where jokingly, like John Shar's like, yeah, at halftime I told him he was too soft because he had 5 points and 8 assists. And then in the second half, he has like a 20-point outburst. And then you're like, okay, that's the Cooper Flagg that we know and love. But I will say this about the assists. While they were down tonight, and we kind of talked about this, that it was going to happen. The fact that it was down tonight is actually a good thing because even in the fact that we were creating shots, again, we created so many off of second chances, right? Off of rebounds. So you don't get assists on a lot of those. But also we were not passing to set up the shot. We were passing to set up the drive. And there's a lot of times where we were able to get guys in position. When we passed them the ball, they would, of course, they would kind of use that angle to drive to the lane and get a basket. And it doesn't count as an assist, but it's definitely a setup, right? You're setting up the play to occur. And so when we look at these numbers and people go, oh, we weren't really moving the ball around, that's not the case tonight. I think Virginia presents a unique challenge in that particular statistic. And we were able to match that by going, okay, if you're going to give us the lane, fine. If you notice, there's a one play where Cooper Flagg backed down. I think it was Robinson. He kind of backed him down, realized, oh, this guy's not moving. So he kind of just took a dribble back and then blew right past him. And he got fouled.
I love that, yeah.
But that sort of thing, again, somebody, or we had the one thing where they would kind of inbound the ball. We'd inbound the ball. There would be nothing. We'd pass it right back out and they'd pass it right back in. And then there's a better angle for them to take a couple dribbles and go to the rack. So we did a lot of that tonight. And it was our passing that was setting that up, even though it won't count in the assist margin.
So speaking of guys getting the lane, I thought that Kon Knueppel was really outstanding. Look, he hit threes. But in addition to hitting threes, I thought he was really excellent about taking the ball in the lane, challenging the defense. There were times where, he was scoring at will. Ends up with 17 points, for a guy who struggled a little bit scoring lately. You love to see it. He earned, by the way, every single one of those 17 points. Also grabbed 7 rebounds in this contest, constantly fighting. I'm going to talk more about Kon getting on the floor, laying out for balls and things like that when we get to the play of the game. Advanced tees, by the way. I have four contenders for player of the game, Donald. I'm going to ask you which one of them you think should be the play of the game. That's how we're going to play it here. And I'm hoping that the play you picked is one of the 4 that I have, but one of my 4 is unquestionably an impressive effort by Kon Knueppel. That dude goes 110 every single second of the game. And like I was talking about this last game, don't tell him it's a 25, 30-point game. Kon thinks his life depends on making this next play every single time. What a special player to watch.
Lives between the 30-second margins, right? The idea that, again, he, there was times where he'd go to the rack and he'd miss, and he'd get the rebound and he'd miss again and he'd get the rebound or somebody else would finish it for him. And they all would turn to him, go, yo, like that's the play. You keep doing
Yeah.
that, right? Because they're going to fall. Yes, the 3-pointers were falling tonight, but it's great that when they kind of try to cheat out to kind of cover him, that he would just blow right past him and go to the hoop. Or he just, again, he's not the fastest guy, right? He's not the quickest guy. He's not, nobody is mistaking him for, the fastest man in the world, Noah Lyles. He is not going to blow past you to go to the rim every single time, but what he can do is outsmart you and out dad move you to the rim. And there's definitely been times where he kind of just moves. And there's the trailer three. I think it was after one of his loose balls that he picked up. There was so many that he dove to the floor for. But he kind of pulled up, and all of a sudden they were like, "There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the fifth guy?" And all of a sudden you see Kon Knueppel shooting a three and making it, and they go, "Oh, there he is. No, he's back there." So he figures out a way to get lost, in the offense, so the defense can't find him. And then all of a sudden when you find him, it's too late.
Yeah, you just gave away one of my plays of the game, but we'll discuss that more later.
He did so many.
Quite all right,
so it's
want to shout out to Sion James. 3 of 3 again in this game. He was 3 of 3 in the last game. I'm not sure it's going to take like another week for him to miss a shot or something like that. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover. Did you see his plus minus? Sion James plus 26 in 21 minutes of playing time. Are we serious? What are we talking about here? Come on. I love watching the way Sion James controls the game, uses his body to create advantages on offense and defense. It's just a pleasure to watch that guy play. And I'll go ahead and segue to another guy.
Real quick.
Go ahead on Sion, but then, go ahead.
Yeah, very quick on Sion. We just talked about the assist number and how it's artificially low for this game. He was the person getting punished the most by that. There were so many plays that he led the guy to the basket and was all of a sudden they're like, oh, he took 2 dribbles, so he's not getting the assist. But that was a Sion James play. Like he did that so many times tonight.
All right, so I wanted to segue over to the bench just very quickly. Showtime Slim. When Showtime Slim is on, it's the best show in town. Let me tell you something.
Must see TV.
Dude is just fun to watch on the basketball court. I don't even mind the ridiculous 25-foot heat check. He was guarded and he went up for that shot. It hit nothing but backboard, baby. It was a terrible shot. I don't mind it one bit. He is he's just so much fun. My former roommate, Kobe Dolan. Kobe texted me when Showtime missed that his I think it was his 7th or whatever, his 6th 3-pointer. And he said, I think he flew a little too close to the sun on that one.
Probably. Yeah. Icarus himself. But Jason, I'm not even most happy about the 17 points, if you can believe that. I'm happiest about the fact that this man had 2 blocks tonight.
Yep.
He had 2 blocks. And both of them were, again, he went up there and challenged the guy. And we talked about the fact that, yeah, he can shoot all he wants, but defense is going to keep him on the floor. That defense right there, getting a couple blocks, being in guy's face, getting a few rebounds. Like he was doing everything tonight. And I think that's kind of what fueled his fire. And when he was making threes, that's one thing, right? But it's another, it doesn't matter if you're going to make a 3 on one end and get burned on the other end, right? He wasn't doing that. He was actually stopping the ball, creating havoc, and making just UVA fold.
By the way, the 2 Showtime Slim blocks, 2 of my other play of the game contenders.
I'm rattling off, man. I got another one here. You want me to, no, just kidding.
As long as we're talking about the bench, I wanted to mention. Come on, first of all, we'll get to Maliq Brown in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But what a ridiculous luxury! What an absurd, out of this world luxury it is for our 3rd string center to be Big Patrick Gongba. 8 points on 4 or 5 shooting in just 11 minutes. I thought his defense was pretty nice. He was contesting shots in a way you don't often see from him, even if he didn't have any blocks. But yeah, his touch around the basket is really, really special. I just can't believe that he is our 3rd. It's the depth on this team. John Shire, chef's kiss, my friend, with the roster construction. And I'm like I said, we'll get to Maliq Brown in a minute. If we have to call on Big Pat, I feel good about calling on Big Pat.
And I mean, unfortunately, we have to talk about this, right? But like the idea that we had Maliq out for a couple weeks makes us more confident about if we have to have him out for a couple of games now, right? Because Gagba has grown from that. He learned from that past that, and I'll say it. There, that one play where he kind of got the pass and really quickly dunked it. It looked like man at first, like the way he just went up so quickly and threw the ball down. Like I mean, the ball was through the rim before he got to the top. And I was like, oh, that's a great play, man. Wait a minute, that's not man. Man was on the
Yeah.
bench.
Yeah.
It's like, who was that? It's like, is that Gagba? I was like, okay. Look, the confidence is there for the kid, and he keeps growing every single minute he's on the floor. That's what we need.
Yeah, and Pat is an outstanding offensive player. Last thing I wanted to mention in the good, and then I'll let you, you can tell me if you got anything else. Caleb Foster. So I want to be clear, CFOS didn't have a very efficient game. He came out there gunning. Like he got in the game and he was like, hey, I scored 10 points in 6 minutes last game. Let me see if I could do that again. Didn't quite work out for him. Jacking it up a lot. But I think there's an intentionality to this. I think, in fact, the coaches may have told him, you're going to go out there and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. You're going to shoot your damn way out of this slump. We all know, Caleb, that you are better than what you've been playing lately. So get on that floor. When we have time, you're getting in there. And when you get in there, shoot and shoot and shoot again. I get the sense that that may be a little bit of what's going on because he was looking for his shot in a big, big way in this game. And I've got no problem with that theory of the case, so to speak. Let's let him shoot his way out of what is a nasty slump for a guy who can still be a very significant player for Duke. So, yeah, he missed most of those shots. I don't mind it one bit. It is in my good because I want Caleb Foster being aggressive.
Shooters get out of slumps by shooting. That's how it works, right? You can't in baseball. A guy doesn't get out of a hitter slump by walking. He gets out by hitting, right? He gets out by swinging the bat, and if he once he gets to it, then he's back on, and when he's back on, right? And that game the other day where he got 10 points off the bench in like 6 minutes, that was the start of that confidence building. Yeah, he's gonna, we're in that kind of phase right now where Caleb Foster has the green light, kind of like Isaiah Evans does, right? You kind of shoot your way out of it. And if you miss it, hey, just keep shooting because the confidence is the biggest part of this. And like I said, the biggest thing we need from Caleb Foster right now is his increased confidence. It's only going to be ever more present if we need to go further in the bench due to Maliq Brown being out. So I'm with you. I liked what I saw. The last thing I had, Jason, we had a fairly clean game for the second game in the row. Only 6 turnovers. We had 3 in the first minute and a half, and they were kind of like, "Oh, this Duke team uncharacteristically has 3 turnovers first half." We didn't have to hear about that again because they only had 3 more the rest of the game. So we had a very clean game offensively. Defensively, we again, UVA does not let you take the ball away from them. So I'm not too upset with only getting 5 turnovers there, but us keeping again under 10 in single digits, that's what you want because it gives us more chances to get the ball, gives us more chances to score, and it gives us more chances to put teams away.
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, the numerous play of the game contenders. We got a little bit of news about the women's basketball seed reveal in terms of the NCAA tournament, and we will talk about the bad, including status of Maliq Brown. All that coming up in just a moment. All right, Duke fans, are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating, well, easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you.
And these meals are fantastic. They're delicious, nutritious, and they're easy to prep when you're on the go or have a really packed schedule like Jason and I do. And Jason, they have over 40 options on the menu each week, so it's easy to find something that meets your goals, whether it's being calorie smart, protein plus, or following a keto diet.
That's right. Eat smarter with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Hey guys, want better performance in all areas of your life? If the answer to the above question is yes, try Joy Mode Daily to support healthier blood flow, improved heart health, and enhance your athletic performance. Expertly formulated and backed by science, it's proven to improve performance by 50% in just 60 days.
That's right. All you do is simply mix a booster pack with water, and you'll feel the effects within 45 minutes. Take control with Joy Mode. Get a boost anytime, anywhere, and never miss a beat. Start a subscription today and save up to 30%. Keep your performance at its best without any interruptions.
So if you're looking to take your game to the next level, visit tryjoymode.com and use code DukeBB at checkout for 20% off single purchases and 30% off subscription orders. That's tryjoymode.com and use code DukeBB for 20% off single purchases and 30% off subscription orders.
This MailChimp-verific jingle is brought to you by MailChimp.
MailChimp, your marketing with AI and more. Advanced automations to connect to your store. MailChimp, your marketing and boost your clicks. Multi-channel campaigns now with SMS. That's lit.
MailChimp your marketing today with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-on. Visit MailChimp.com.
It's time to rewrite the vacation rules. With Royal Caribbean, your family can look forward to just about anything. Break the thrill barrier, roaring down the tallest water slide in North America. Jump into breathtaking jungles and jaw-dropping coves. Vibe off the charts on our private island Perfect Day at Coco Cay. And end the day knowing things are just getting started. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Donald, we're back from the break, and even though we are recording this in the minutes after the game ended, I have checked with my sources, and John Shire did, in fact, talk about Maliq Brown's injury in the post-game news conference. It has been revealed that Maliq Brown has had a shoulder dislocation. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's actually not that bad. That is the kind of injury that can be fairly quick to recover from. John Shire said, they don't know that much about it. They have to get him back to Duke, get their medical team to get a look at it. Shire says all he knows that Maliq wasn't going to go back in the game. But a dislocation in the shoulder, I'm hopeful with, a long week here before we get to Illinois, we'll be able to get Maliq Brown back fairly quickly. He is even though he doesn't score a lot, he is so essential that you've got to have him. And by the way, is there anybody who throws a backdoor pass like Maliq Brown? My goodness.
Yeah. I look, when it happened, I have been on the court when injuries like that occur. It is such a freak thing that happens. And if you remember the play, he did it deflecting the ball, what he always does, right? He does it umpteen times a game. And this one, the ball hit his arm in the absolute perfect spot for his shoulder to dislocate while doing it. They kept saying no contact. I don't understand why they kept saying that. Because it was clearly contact on the ball is what happened.
Yeah, just because you don't hit another person doesn't mean it's a non-contact injury.
Right. That non-contact is where you turn and all of a sudden you just go down, right? But it was when it happened, I was like, man, that looks like a dislocation if I've seen one, because I've seen several in the basketball court in real time. And it's always a freak thing where the ball just hits you in just the perfect spot and your arm, your finger, whatever, just does not react the way it's supposed to, or the way it has done the other 999,000 times that you've done that. So I feel so bad for him because, again, he was doing the play that he does the most, and that's what messes up his shoulder. Dislocations are funny. Now, could he be back in a week? Yeah, sure. Will he be 100%? No. And that's the idea here is how long do they keep him out knowing that it's probably gonna take him 2 to 3 weeks for him to become fully 100% healed from that. He can play through pain. And he may, actually be playing through that pain the rest of the season. So it's about pain threshold. But again, unfortunately, we had to deal with this a month ago, so we know how to deal with Maliq Brown being out. But as we said last month, and we'll say it again, it changes the dynamic of how we play defense. Thankfully, we have guys who have had more experience than in the form of a Patrick Gongba. Again, Mason Gillis is back, so we're gonna rely on him to be that leadership example. And while I think guys have learned how to deflect the ball and get past alterations and disruptions without him on the floor. Not to say that we don't need him, because we absolutely do, but our shape won't change as much now than it did last month when he was out and we had to kind of relearn how to play this way. So I hope he's back soon, but I am confident that the staff is going to make sure that he's 100%. And I think they will take the time to allow him to do that, because right now, like this next 2 weeks, in the grand scheme of life, don't matter, right? Like they matter, but they don't matter as much as the end of the year, the NCAA tournament, the ACC tournament, where you're showing the committee, hey, we are fully back to 100%. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's playing at the top of their game. This is why we deserve a 1 seed or the East region, whatever you want to do it. So I'm hopeful that he gets better, but man, I just hate to see it happen to him after, again, doing what Maliq Brown does best.
As we continue with the bad, I want to give full credit to UVA for something. You mentioned, by the way, Duke had 6 turnovers in this game. UVA only had 5. Full props to them for that. Isaiah McNeely, dude, he was stunning at times. He had that 3-pointer early in the game where he did a spin move to take a 3-pointer. What? I mean, you don't see that kind of thing very often. Really impressive shot by him. I thought he and the other UVA perimeter players did a great job of getting in the lane, getting good shots early on. They were hot and they were keeping it close. They were moving the ball around pretty nicely early on. Then, they started missing some dunks. They missed some layups, and Duke started stretching it out. But I thought UVA, especially early, played very nicely, and Duke was struggling to stop them. And if I'm giving full credit to UVA, I want to mention that kid Robinson, back-to-back blocks on Kon and Cooper. The Cooper block, dude, that was I'm about to be on a poster. I'm going to prevent the poster from happening. He was an anti-poster, and that was very, very impressive for a freshman playing against, the future number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Really nice job by him. I just want to give Virginia credit. I think Virginia, even though they got blown out, they actually played a pretty good game for the most part.
Like I said, especially the first 8 to 9 minutes of this game, we kind of had to figure out what Virginia was doing to get around it and get through it. And I'm glad we eventually did. But they kept it close by the fact that they were able to frustrate us, not necessarily in making us do bad things with the basketball, but we were, everything was very hard to come by, and that's partly how UVA plays. And again, the only thing that I had down on my bad, other than Maliq Brown, was that for the first time we've seen Cooper get got right on that block attempt, that dunk attempt. Yeah, and again, no shame in it. He went for it, because I saw him. He took that power dribble. And I think the entire world was like, "Oh no, Cooper is about to end somebody's life." But credit to Robinson, he went up there and he stuffed him. Like, hey, this is. I don't know if you can hear this. This is me clapping. Sometimes that's the way it goes. And the great thing about Cooper is that he went right back down and forced. Like, I think he forced a turnover the next play, right? And then came down and hit a shot. So it didn't phase him, right? He still got his points.
Yeah,
but we've seen him get got. The man is human sometimes, and we have to recognize that.
Exactly. I got a couple other things I want to mention in the bad. First of all, UVA did a really nice job of getting to the free throw line. Duke put them at the line a lot. They shot 17 free throws. They made 14 of them. Duke in this contest only shoots 11 free throws. The next time someone is moaning to you about Duke getting all the calls, please remind them we don't always shoot more free throws than our opponents attempt. Sometimes the exact opposite happens. Also, I don't know if Virginia was doing something extra, rotating extra well to stop it, but the lob game to man-man was kind of non-existent in this contest. I mean, we'd seen Duke do that again and again lately, and this time man-man only gets 2 points, only 4 rebounds. In a game where we lost Maliq Brown, we kind of need more from man-man than that. I mean, if Brown is out for a little bit, we need man-man to, play like a man. At least a
Well, the
little
way
bit.
with their defense, they were kind of forcing us to throw those lobs a little bit further down, right, closer to the
Yeah.
baseline. So if Man caught it, he was kind of under the stanchion of the backboard, and so he couldn't get in that position where normally he catches that ball. All he has to do is catch it, drop step, not even drop step, he just kind of hops up and he's dunking it before the ball, the ball is even in his hand essentially. But this time he was kind of getting it deeper in the post, but that meant that he was in a worse position to try and do something with it, or we're throwing it, and again, a couple of times that he was able to kind of tip it and come down with it. A UVA player was waiting there to kind of low block him and take it. So, yeah, it's definitely, again, it's an adjustment, and that's credit to Virginia's defense and how they were doing it. We were able, again, to work our way around it, and what we did is we just said, man, if you just move to the left or move to the right, we'll just drive, and then they can't stop anybody. That's how it worked.
I also think it matters that in terms of stopping it, that UVA is a little bit bigger than most of the teams that Duke plays. We mentioned this. It's not the fact that their top end size is that huge, but they got a lot of mid-size kind of guys. And when those kind of guys get switched onto man-man, or when they are in the way of the pass that we're making to man-man, it just changes a little bit of the geometry of that passing. And I think that may be one of the other reasons. Virginia has all these guys 6'6", 6'8", physical players, and I think that may have impacted a little bit of Duke's ability to throw those lobs. Last thing I had in the bad, Tyrese Proctor's run of like 20-point games, or close to 20-point games, sort of ended this time. He only got 7 points, just 3 of 7 shooting, couldn't really knock down his threes the way he usually does. He did lead the team with 4 assists, but I had been singing the praises of Tyrese Proctor being Duke's primary, secondary scorer for the past couple weeks, and that really wasn't the case in this game. So in the interest of fairness, I got to mention everything in the bad that I don't mention in the good.
And it didn't start that way, because it started out with him getting I think 5 of the first 8 points of the game. And they were like, oh, well, Tyrese Proctor is on his game again, as he has been the last couple of weeks. And then he just kind of faded from there. But again, it was faded in the form of making shots, as opposed to him fading completely from the offense. Because as you mentioned, he kind of figured out that everybody else was hot and just said, hey, let him cook by passing the ball. And he actually got 4 assists, which again was hard to come by in this game.
All right, time for the play of the game. And like I said, I got 4 contenders for you. I'm going to see which one you like best. Hopefully, one of the ones you would have picked is among these. First one is with 13 minutes left in the first half. Cooper Flagg kind of backhanded a block. He blocked a ball. It almost swiped it off the backboard. I know the UVA folks went crazy thinking it should be goaltending. I don't think it should, but it was a super, super impressive block. And then Duke raced down to the other end, and Tyrese Proctor buried a 3-pointer. It was one of the plays that sort of started to stretch the lead out for Duke. We had a 3-point lead. After that play, it gave us a 6-point lead, and it sort of built from there. But I just thought that block, that backhand-ish block by Cooper, or maybe it was with his offhand. I don't know. I watched it on replay a couple times. I was just like, damn, that is really impressive. So that is contender number 1, the Flagg block. Contender number 2, Slim blocks Andrew Rohde, and it led to Duke going the other direction and Slim getting a contested layup and a 3-point play at the other end. Really, really nice block by Showtime. Although that wasn't his best block. That's play number 2. Number 3, I think, was his best block, which is right at the end of the game. It's mop-up time, but Showtime Slim blocks a 3-pointer and takes off like lightning. He didn't even look to see who's going to get the rebound. He's like, I'm going that way. As fast as I can, because I think we're going to get this rebound. Lo and behold, we did. It led to him doing a just sweet layup around poor TJ Power. TJ. Ugh. But, it was just a beautiful transition from defense to offense play. And then my last contender for play of the game, Kon Knueppel. Full-on layout dive to tip a ball to give Duke a possession. And then as he's laying on the ground, everyone goes the other direction. And like you said, Kon is trailing the play and gets a wide open 3. And by the way, just a few minutes after that, he again does a full extension layout to break up a pass that would have been an easy layup. So, Donald, I put it to you. Cooper Flagg's backhanded block, Showtime Slim blocking a three for a layup, Showtime Slim blocking Rhodey for a 3-point play, or Kon laying out and then hitting a 3-pointer? Which is your play of the game?
Okay, so before I answer this question, I'm picking one of those, but the play of the game that I have is not one of those four plays.
What?
So I'll talk about mine in a second, but the play of the game for you, since I'm picking yours out of four, is Kon's play.
Love it.
Kon's play was terrific. Again, hustle on one end, rewarding on the other. We love when those plays happen. So that is your play of the game. My play of the game is weird because it's very early in the first half, with about 15:45 left in the first half. Proctor's at the top of the key and zooms a pass to Sion James in the corner.
Oh, I love this play.
He zoomed the ball so hard that it was like, 3 feet in the air above Sion's head. Sion jumps and catches it and is like, I'm not going to worry if I'm going to come down and bounce because the ball's going to be gone out of my hands by the time I come down anyway. He rifles a pass inside to Man, who dunks the ball. And you're thinking, okay, that was a beautiful play. You heard somebody in the crowd. It was obviously a UVA fan. Just go, woo! What are we supposed to do about that? But Jason, that play started a 16-2 run for Duke, and that is why we were able to get out of there and really make it where this game was very, very easy by the time that under 4 of the first half timeout came.
That was I should have had that written down because when that play happened, I was just like, first of all, when Tyrese threw that ball, I was like, he's throwing that into the 5th row. I mean,
yeah, I think it was like a couple minutes later. I think the other play with the backhanded block that Cooper had. That's when that fan got thrown out of the game, who apparently came down 10 rows to tell Roger Ayers what he thought of him, and Roger Ayers immediately middle of the possession was like, timeout, my time, you gone. It just walks over to he's like, that guy over there gone. The guy came out of his seat, came down to the floor, said something else to Roger Ayers, and then turned around and shook everybody's hand on the way out. That easiest. It was very, very a funny ejection. Obviously, fans should not be ejected from games, but if you're gonna do it peacefully. And I think he shook some hands and made a legend of himself on the way out.
Yeah, UVA is having a tough season. I can definitely sense some frustration from those fans. All right, you had one more thing you wanted to do before we go. Talk about the reveal of the women's top seeds.
Yeah, so, well, first of all, Jason, I know we didn't get a chance to do this on the show. We had mentioned on the show before the weekend that Coach K's birthday was February 13th. February 14th is Kara Lawson's birthday, so happy belated birthday to Kara Lawson. But over the weekend, the day after the men had their top 16 reveal, the women's bracket came out, and ESPN and the NCAA came out with that. And Duke is one of the few teams that has teams in both of these things. Duke is a 3 seed according to this top 16 reveal in the Spokane 1 region. So what they do in the women's side is because they want to kind of conserve costs. They have 2 regions or 2 sites, I should say, in two regions at each site. So Spokane 1, Spokane 4 means the number 1 overall seed, and the number 4 overall seed would go to Spokane. Birmingham is the other 2. So Duke is in Spokane 1, that bracket, as a 3 seed. They're the 10th rated team according to this top 16. In their bracket would be UCLA, who is having a hell of a season. They just lost to USC as their first loss of the year. They're the number 1 overall seed. You have LSU, who is always great, and Tennessee, who had under Pat Summitt was great, had a few down years. They are now back. So it's a really tough bracket. If this was the bracket today, there's some questions about where I would put them because they have Duke as the number 10 overall team in the land, and they have UNC at number 11. UNC gets to go to Birmingham, while Duke has to go all the way to Spokane. I would obviously flip those, given the parameters of this thing. But
typical NCAA seeding BS when it comes to Duke and UNC. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but at the same time, again, there's still a lot of basketball left, and unlike the men's side, there are a lot of teams that are coming on strong as of late. Unfortunately, Duke women lost just before the men played tonight. They played at Notre Dame. They are undefeated in Cameron. They have 5 losses on the road, and so they, of course, the great thing is there's no, if they're as well as they're playing, they're not going to have a road game in the NCAA tournament. But they also have a loaded schedule, and they have a lot of opportunities left to make up some ground. I think they're still playing. They're playing UNC again. They got the ACC tournament where they have Notre Dame, NC State. Syracuse, teams that are traditionally strong, Virginia Tech. And so you have these teams that are really good. Duke is going to get a lot more opportunities to showcase themselves and show that they might be even worthy of a 2, which is what some brackets had been saying until Sunday night. So again, congratulations for them on so far having a great season. It's been fun to watch them grow into the team that they've become, and they're only getting better. We've seen them knock off several teams on this list. And so I like the fact that they're challenging themselves and they still got some work left to do. So maybe we'll see them go pretty far in this tournament. But for now, if this tournament started today, they'd be a 3 seed, Jason.
I mean, not bad. But yeah, I think that they are deserving of better than that. And if it wasn't for the third, I watched a bit of this game against Notre Dame. If it wasn't for the third quarter.
That third quarter, he killed them. Yeah.
Yeah. They
21-8 or something, or I'm sorry, 25-8. Like,
yeah. Other than that, they played very even on the road against the team that everyone says is the best team in the country. So this Duke team, Duke women have a chance to do something special this season. And it's great to see Kara continues building this program, get better and better every year. This team, by the way, very young. They got a lot of really good young talent that's going to be in Durham for a while. With that, we're going to wrap it up here in the latest edition of the DBR podcast. Stick around. We've got 4 days until the Illinois game, but Donald and I are going to be bringing the content. A absolute Duke legend, one of my favorite players of all time, is going to be joining us for a special podcast in the next 24 hours or so. We will be bringing that to you. Make sure you tune in to hear one of the great scorers in Blue Devil history talk to us. See if you can guess who it is. We'll have that coming at you. We'll also have a preview of the Illinois game. Until then, that's Donald. I'm Jason. Showtime Slim just hit another 3-pointer.
Bingo.
Hear the Blue Devils band taking us home. Bye-bye.